Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's Friday, December 4th in the NBA season. We are talking with professional sports bettor Ted Savransky, also known as Teddy Covers. We're going to talk to him about under-the-radar NBA Moneymakers right now. That's the title of our video that we're going to do right now. Teddy Covers, thanks for being with us. When I think right now, if you do word association with me, under-the-radar NBA Moneymakers, the first two teams that come to mind would be the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Nets have been killing it ATS, and the Sixers, even though everyone's talking about how they're on a historic straight-up losing streak, actually have been cashing game in and game out recently. So those are the first two teams that come to mind. Then I also think about the Pacers and, of course, the Warriors, although the Warriors are not under the radar by any stretch of the imagination. They are making money, though. They're definitely in the category of NBA Moneymakers, not necessarily under the radar NBA Moneymakers. Teddy Covers, what would you like to share with us today?
Sure. Well, let's talk about the concept that we're looking for here, because Golden State, you're absolutely right. They've been a point spread machine so far this season. But when we look forward, we say, what's the Warriors' ATS record going to be in their next 20 games? It's not going to be what it was in their first 20 games. Golden State came into the season with something to prove. They've won every game so far. The betting markets are not sleeping on the Golden State Warriors, even though they've been huge moneymakers early. I find particularly, once we get into December, once teams have 15 or 20 games under their belt, I love this time of year in the NBA. And year after year, I find consistent moneymakers from teams that started off looking like crap or had a real bad run in November at some point, and then they're just not that bad.
Right.
In particular, I'm looking for teams, you don't see them on national TV. You don't see them hyped. Generally they're losing teams or teams that lost last year. A team like Atlanta a season ago was certainly an under the radar squad for like 3 months of the season.
Right.
They were point spread machines. And we've got a couple teams to talk about this year. One of them is one of the ones you brought up in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
The Nets were awful in the first couple of weeks of the season. They started 0-7 straight up, 1-6 against the spread. My powering number had Brooklyn as the second worst team in the NBA. Only the 76ers were worse coming into the campaign. And a funny thing happened, though. On the way to the Nets being abysmal, they suddenly started to win games, and in particular, they started to cover point spreads. How about this? 10-1 against the number their last 11.
Yeah.
They're underdogs in every game. They've been winning at home. They took Cleveland to OT on the road. They lost by 2 to Cleveland. They took Golden State to overtime on the highway. Nobody gets up to play the Nets. They're playing defense, which is absolutely a key factor in these type of situations.
Yeah. Earth the Houston Rockets, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you look at the worst point spread teams in the NBA this year, they're all the superstar teams. They're the James Harden teams of the world, and the Blake Griffin and Chris Paul teams of the world, and the Kobe Bryant teams of the world, the guys with the marquee stars without the team surrounding them, and certainly without the defense surrounding them. Brooklyn, remember Lionel Hollins when he engineered that turnaround in Memphis?
Sure.
It was all about the defensive side of the basketball. The Nets are playing defense on a nightly basis, and I suspect they're going to continue to make their backers money over the course of the next few months. Philly, Philly is that bad.
Yeah.
And that,
but they've been cashing,
Well, yeah, they were trying so hard to get that win and so hard to get that win. And so, they really were, and they were in all these games, and now they got the win. I'm in no rush to ride the Sixers. And we saw the first game after they got the win, they got blown out by the Knicks.
Right.
Philly is the very worst NBA teams. You can't make money with them. You might get them, catch lightning in a bottle. But at the end of the season, Philly's going to be an ATS loser, just like they were last year. And I'm not looking for ATS losers. I'm looking for teams that are going to finish the season, or at least finish the next month, 5 or 10 games above the 500 ATS.
Okay, Teddy Covers, Brooklyn Nets, check. Is there another team that you'd like to bring to our attention, Teddy?
And I must hate to talk about this team because the Nets have been better than market expectations. They're not a good team. The next team I'm going to talk about is a good team.
Okay.
And they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to cause all kinds of teams problems. And they're way off the radar screen. That team, of course, the Orlando Magic, who have now won 5 in a row. A head coaching change has made a pretty significant difference down there. And, Scott Skiles, first year on the job, he wins everywhere. Guys get sick of him after a couple years, but his first year in, year out, Skiles has, everywhere he's been, immediate turnarounds. Orlando, they're playing defense on a nightly basis. Boy, that starting 5 is pretty good. They made the lineup switch to get Oladipo coming in off the bench now,
Yeah.
and the reserves are pretty good. Orlando never gets on TV. They never get any hype. They have no superstars. I bet you I could ask you, well, you follow this stuff, but can you name me 3 players in the Magic? Most people can't.
Right. Right.
They are moneymakers. That is a good basketball team. And I would say if you bet on Orlando every game in December, you'd be surprised how much money you're going to make.
Awesome analysis, awesome insights, awesome thoughts. Teddy Covers, thanks so much. Talk to you again very soon.
I like being awesome. Thank you.